Session 450. So version SongVisualizer 0.9P alpha. Numerous changes in the set list. And there's a whole number of new screens. So I'm on the set list screen right now. Just for some flair, I threw in some AI generated images that are off in some ways or another. For example, the crowd is facing the other direction, but that's okay. It's interesting regarding the prompts that I learned. Currently the prompts in regards to the perspective facing the opposite direction. Um, so otherwise, there's a lot to go through. Just so let's go back. So I'm on the SongVisualizer screen right now, and I changed a lot of things under the hood. This is no longer the screen that displays when initially starting the program. So what I mean by that is, okay, so I'm on the SongVisualizer screen, but now there's a back button. Actually, give me 1 second. Hold on. Okay. Okay. So let's go back. There's only so many ports. Okay, so for context, I'm using a Windows laptop. and every single port is occupied. Gosh darn it. And I was trying to get a mouse. Oh well. So let me just go back to the app. So I'm using a Windows laptop, and that's relevant because for the longest time with this program, I had to struggle with Windows on particular operating system. It's just the notation, the notes, the sprites, they're they don't move seamlessly, right? It's drove me crazy because I did everything like so this is Pygame, so I'm using software or CPU, I should say. I'm using the CPU to draw, calculate. So for some time, there's been many different iterations this project has gone through, such as the it first started with, okay, so this is a game, right? And by that, we need frames, 60 frames per second, preferably. Some games could do 30, I guess, maybe, and some could go above. In regards to the monitor that you're using, it could go whichever range. But for this project, my goal is to have 60 frames so it appears smooth, and that's just my goal. Just so what I noticed is on Mac operating system or Apple, whatever, on their laptops, on the MacBook, the same program on Windows that has the stuttery note movement or jittery. It's I would say it's more of a I'm trying to think of the way because the difference between stutter and jitter, one of them, I think stutter is the one where it's based on performance, where if the note is moving down, then it suddenly goes back up. In regards to the jitter, where it goes one direction, just almost teleportation wise, if that makes sense. But the difference between the stutter and the jitter, in terms of the notation being moved down the screen. So press, oh great, error, try again. Well, that's why I call this alpha. Let's try changing song. Index out of range. Okay, I have to look at the terminal. Twitch manager is messing up. What? All right. Let me stop the Twitch manager then. Division. Okay, I can't even do that. Let me change a JSON value that says not to load it. TwitchBot enabled false. Maybe too many API requests. Okay, so here's the start menu. I just made this within a couple hours, just because it's a big deal because a few reasons. The whole flow of the project is being rewritten to an extent to get this functional. It's a matter of rewiring logic that stood out for quite a bit. Like, or sorry, what I mean is, like, this project has many different departments. And in one department, we make it to a certain status. I'm talking in the SongVisualizer program, specifically solo project, just me. Departments as in, for example, the main game loop, balancing Pygame with tkinter. So I have Pygame and then tkinter at the same time, and they're both ideally able to be interactive at the same time, given a few tweaks that I actually have to mess with now in the start menu that I notice it. Let me write a note. But this is like very fresh, recent code, and that's why it's alpha, because lots of logic is being changed around, and there's lots of many different files that talk with one another and share functions and variables and whatever else. And what that means is when I change one thing, it affects other areas, of course. So I'm talking about the main game loop because I introduced this new screen. I shifted away some logic from the SongVisualizer screen and shifted some of that logic into the start screen. It's just a matter of reorganizing the code. And there's a lot. I haven't even gone through all of the details. There's a lot of, I just been all my free time changing lots of stuff on this project. So the set list, that functionality, it's kind of still in progress. Well, the logic, you can see it's kind of funny that, so these are um, language model generated image. So what happened is I'm getting assistance on recent implementations. I'm using Claude recently. I just switched over, uploading some project files and querying stuff and saving lots of time. And then using ChatGPT as well. So I used Claude to create ChatGPT Dolly prompts. But it's funny though, the perspective. The audience is facing the stage. And this stage is facing the back of, I mean, sorry, the audience is facing the opposite direction of the stage. But I decided to keep it anyway. There's a bunch of different ones. So that got me thinking because, well, also because there's a set list here. So this set list, I was like, okay, make it like you're in a venue. Well, hold on, let me go back. So the idea is whenever I play guitar, right, I record it, and just every time, it just, and every time I pick up the instrument, so I record it, and I call that a session, podcast episode, whatever you call it. So this is the 450th time I picked up the guitar, sat down, and played it for a session, whatever. And so the idea came from that. So when I play this game, it created a session for me. Like what I mean is the very first song I played today, there was no session that existed. I just went in to play a song. And from there, it created the session. Just by like, okay, we noticed you played this. Here's a session, create a set list. So today, session 451 apparently. Don't know why that's 1. Oh, because the single note test. See, I didn't clean up the single note test session yesterday, so it's off by 1, but that's okay. I'll worry about that later. Let me write a note. Let's see. Session number 451 set list. is actually session number 450. The current 450 set list is test and should not count. All right. Once we get beyond that. So the idea is when I played songs, right, and it just captured the songs as I played them. It's like, all right, you played this song and logged it. So there's a database, there's a table for every database, right, in regards to songs and play time or play status, play note logs, whatever you want to call it. And a whole bunch of things, but that's what's here, that's showing here. So this is, there's a JSON output and then that JSON goes in the database. So the set list was created as I played and it just tracked all the songs that I played. And there's even that feature, modify set list, and you go, oh, I didn't have that shown. Hold on. Let me add that. So I have to manually like sync every window. Hold on. Modify set list to scene 2. Let's try that. Okay, this is the modify set list, and I hit this button, suggest songs. And let me add that to set preferences, scene 2. That's another window that popped up that I have to add. Gosh dang it. Add window. Set pref. There we go. This is a set preferences window. So I hit suggest songs. It says, okay, what preferences you want? And just say all those, okay. And then let me get that pop up, song suggestions pop up. Scene 2, add. And then go here. And go add new window. Oh man, I gotta have that set preferences only show if it's applicable. Song suggestions. Window title must match. Window title must match. Here's a suggest songs example. What the heck? It's either, oh well, because it's going to be bright. Obviously, there's something strange going on with the brightness with the video rendering. Can't even read that, but I'm not going to worry about that now. I'll just hit OK, close. I don't know if it's my HDR on or off. Let's see. Okay, let's turn off HDR, if that has anything to do with it. Modify, suggest. Oh, that is the reason why. Huh, okay. Because CPU can't render HDR. I wonder if that'll increase the performance of the program to say, hey, yep, you should turn off HDR. Because what happens is I added a bunch of new, I'm trying to aim this to a new user installing this program, right? So I've been writing a lot of code that gets rid of a lot of hard-coded resolutions, such as like synchronization of certain files that are required to plug in the guitar and start playing. And before it would say, hey, just please sync with the server. I was like, okay. And like if you didn't, you get penalized. But now I just said, okay, don't expect the user to go there. Just say, hey, we notice this is a fresh install. You need this to proceed. And so it's like, okay. And then it just proceeds to execute that flow of getting the necessary files through the code. So I've just been changing the program because what happened was I installed this software in a fresh Windows laptop and had to make it an easier experience to set up. Let's see. Will it perform? Okay, there's a new bug too regarding the tkinter window and the daylight dies tempo or any tempo screen. I don't know. I think it might perform better without HDR. I did not think of that. I have to write a note. Um, I'm going to write a note to check for HDR to be off. Somewhere I wrote that code. It's like your monitor is required. Oh, here we go. So I'm going to write a to-do check and make sure that HDR is turned off, as it may cause issues. Let's wrote another note. Okay. Closing all the, I have a lot of I have a lot of files in my project. Python, whatever else. Okay, so in regards to the SongVisualizer, there may be one glaring thing that stands out on this particular start menu. And you may notice how I get to the SongVisualizer, right? So before, my program will just start on this screen, okay? And just says, here, you're on it, start playing. And we got the buttons right in here. Right, that's because it took me so many iterations of tweaking to get the optimizations as far as I could to an extent. There's been so many iterations of just the SongVisualizer functionality itself. Like every aspect of what's going on here from what I'm doing now. Okay, so opening the guitar file, grabbing all the notes, making sure every note's on time for each note type, bend, hammer on, pull off the stain, harmonics, slides, and then the ghost notes and the different dotted variations of the note types and getting all the song lengths. Like, there's been so much detail. Yeah, this is smoother without HDR. Feels like. But there's been so many iterations in regards to the note movements, the velocity, the delta time, the OpenGL, the SDL2 blitting, screen surfaces. I'm just throwing random words out. A whole lot of programming. And then from there, even the dynamic tempo settings, plugging the guitar in, having the output generating the frequencies of each note types to determine the notes hit or miss, altering the tempo of the song based on the previous song's playthrough. I mean, I'm just trying to go through just trying to verbalize all the features of this program. Like you could even tune the guitar. That's another thing I changed too. I'm still filling in a bunch of the drop C frequencies that are off from E standard. And then what I changed recently, what I'm talking about is just I wanted the user to be able to change the chunk size of the guitar input. So what happens is when I added a new setting, I have to show the what. Oh, can you see that window? Okay. In the settings in this pop-up in particular, there's a reset guitar input. So what happens is now I define the user. I'm trying to get this all user-friendly rather than hard-coded. And this is just a step. So like not hard-coding the input device. So for example, my particular input device is like over 10-year-old Rocksmith USB cable. So I have universal audio device that my guitar plugs into. Then I have the output of that interface using the Rocksmith cable plugged into the laptop. Then through the program, I select that input device, and I have the program taking that signal and determining if the note that you see on screen is the note that you're playing on the guitar, and logging that information for every measure, every note, saying whether or not the note is hit or missed. So that's what I like. I like having 100% of notes with dynamic tempo. I don't like having dynamic amount of notes with static tempo. That's just me, and that's how I designed the program. So there's, and so that extended into the session and set list concept, where because you know, when I play guitar, right, I have to manually track the songs. But now that's why I wanted to do the session set list concept, where like it just tracks what I played in that sitting. And I could just do like generate track lists, and I hit track list session number 450. Here, let me show another window here. Excuse me. Call it, oh, hold on. I try to reduce the amount of pop-ups that are displayed. I'm trying to stick to just one. Automatic scene switcher. We're going to go to generated track list scene 2. Close. Gonna go to add that generated track list. Window title must match. Okay. So this is the title of my YouTube videos when I render this. Now it's just generated for me. Oh man, that's gonna save so much time. I like to spam my YouTube channel with 2 to 3 videos a day. Scheduled releases of just me playing through this project and showing the different iterations where I can. Okay. Got the track list down. The set list is still in progress. And we are gonna do something else. We're going to modify the set list. We're gonna suggest songs. We're gonna say E standard. We're gonna play some rhythm because it's less stressful than lead, especially after playing 7 Kill Switch Engage songs in a row. Kill Switch Engage songs, I think I'm gonna have to debate if they're more difficult than Canon Rock. Just because the number of notes and the amount of time span, and it's kind of easier to play Canon Rock for me. It seems like, I don't know if it's not a 1-to-1 ratio. It's more like 7 Kill Switch Engage songs equals. No, it's okay. Here's the thing: the Kill Switch Engage song, what gets you is that open chug. I mean, everything else is okay to an extent, but there's a lot of pinky usage. Be prepared to use your pinky in your kill switch engage songs. I've been trying to use my pinky on E standard and E flat when I have only 2 frets apart and when I could use the third finger, because what happens is like the pinky just goes like, hey, what about me? It's like if you just play like with your 3 fingers, your pinky's always doing something. It wants to be involved. Okay, so E standard rhythm. We're gonna, oh, hold on. Did I do, that's our E flat songs. Let's go back. Modify, suggest. I thought I hit E standard. Let's see. E standard rhythm. Okay. What? I didn't know Unknown Soldier has a rhythm. Purely Hideaway has a rhythm? Okay. Yeah, I never played. Oh, it's still not in order. I could have sworn it was a different order. All right, let's try. Um, Play next song. Here, let me, there's another window I gotta share in OBS. Tools, scene switcher, question goes to scene 2. Window capture, question, next song. Here we go, window title must match. So I hit play next song. It's like, okay, open next song in set list, session number 451, even though it's 450. Tuning, E standard, artist, Pray to King, song, Hideaway. Arrangement, rhythm. Yes. Okay, and strange. I never done the rhythm. 242 I know is not going to be slow enough. It's going to be too fast. Okay. This looks like the lead. How is this different? Is it just a solo? Wait, hold on. Did that just have 5 and 4 open? Or did I see things wrong? Okay. You still got this going. This looks just like the lead here. Okay. Also, oh yeah, that is 5-4 open. Huh. That is slightly different. Um, I'm kind of debating if I want to try a slower update on regards to the callback of the note detection. That's another topic. How else is this different from the lead? Okay, that went down a string. No. Well, okay, so I'm still gonna do the dynamic tempo. We're gonna say, well, I guess we'll just start with that. It's gonna require, I don't know, 65% accuracy to jump, 10%. To require missing 70% of accuracy to drop it. I don't know, 5%. Reversal strength, 50, maybe more. Reversal, yes. Okay. Apply. 250? No, man. Uh-uh. Dynamic. I should cap the max tempo at the song's max tempo. Because if I don't, I have to reference the previous dynamic or the previous static amount. All right, let's do this. Apply 334. Okay, then. Too bad I have. I was gonna play some E standard, but then I'm like, I don't feel like getting a guitar. Let's just play some more drop C chug. Fixation on the darkness again? Should prioritize songs that I played least recently. Okay, I'm not playing that one. I'm gonna do E standard after all. Remove, remove, remove. We're going to do Streetlight Rhythm. Add the rhythm, confirm, save, play next, E standard, yes, rhythm, done. Guitar switch time.